But these guys are going to sit there on their ivory tower and wag their finger because they're not getting more taxpayer support. I bet all those companies would like some money, wouldn't they, Brian?
They would, Steve. They would. Matter of fact, they get about 15 to 16% of their total budget comes from the federal government, about $535 million a year from that. And to think that they're claiming that this violates any type of, First Amendment right. Well, I don't remember the founding fathers, saying that public taxpayer money must go to broadcast companies. Because if that's the fact, why don't Nexstar, Sinclair, Gray Television, and others just go ahead and line up, go to Washington, D.C., and try to get all this federal money that supposedly is your constitutional right? Look, at the end of the day, Steve, if you want to turn on PBS, you want to turn on NPR in the car, which is great, you can do that. You're still going to get your programming. It's just not going to come from federal taxpayer dollars. That's it. We're not telling Big Bird to go find a different nest. We're not putting the Cookie Monster back in the jar. We're not putting Oscar the Grouch back in the trash can. Those guys still exist, but that's what the left wants you to think, that for some reason we're wiping it away. We're just not using taxpayer dollars, and this is hugely popular with the people. Steve, you know this.
It is. People wanted to defund these two outlets for years. It's something that's been discussed for my entire professional career. It's been floating around anyway. Yeah. Look, I just had to go back to an old email. I went back to an old email I found. Town Square Media owns 230 radio stations in this country. Their revenue in 21-22 was down 80%. Because of COVID regulations and shutdowns and lockdown. 80%. You know how much NPR and PBS were down? 0. Because they take money from the government and they have these other, nonprofits funding them every step of the way so they can continue to proliferate this left-wing agenda. While companies are out there competing in the free market, they skated right through it. And so I think that's what they're afraid of, Brian. They're afraid of having to compete on an even playing field.
You're absolutely correct. And that subcommittee on DOGE, where Marjorie Taylor Greene chaired that committee, brought the CEOs back in front of that panel, and they really exposed the bias in the media coverage. They can't sit there for 2 minutes and try to convince the American people that they're an unbiased news organization when you and I both know that's not the facts. Matter of fact, I have a very good friend that worked in a major market for PBS. This is big city stuff. Years of experience in television. The day after that DOGE subcommittee hearing about the funding, she was fired.